And there are races like round hailing. I raced last year on the OC, went to Jersey as well. And I think the OCs are pretty quick, not me, the OCs are pretty quick. And I think we could incorporate that. And why not? There are races. There is the, what is it? It is the Colwyn Bay Blast, which I haven't actually been to, but they started off as a surf ski race. They now have OC and they've now allowed SUP in, and they realise that they can all work together. So I don't know why we can't do that, but obviously it has to be safe for everybody. It has to, that comes into it. That's a big part of it. And our ocean series, Mark and I talked about this last week, you might have fewer paddlers and you have more cost. So it's a bit of a juggling act, but we really want, I speak from the heart. Yes, please let those be included.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have chatted about this before, Ben, around some of this is wanting to make sure we bring as many people along with us as we can. And, I personally don't know enough about OC and who governs it. And just, we always try and make sure we are working with the right people, not stepping on any toes, and just trying to support having as much fun as possible, really, at the end of the day. So there's no reason why something like OC couldn't be part of the series. I mean, look at Bournemouth and Bay SUP and a lot of other clubs that have really embraced, some of the really early adopters of OC, and they've really made it work. So yeah, open to look into it.
So I'm going to roll two questions that have come in sort of into one, really. So the first one is there a plan to increase numbers at races? I know, again, going back to some of the comments you made about insurance, safety, etc. Obviously, some things, environment, we're governed by that. And then another question, which I think is, Mark, we've had long chats about this in the past, is where do you think GB SUP will head with junior racing?
Well, we owe it to the next generation. If we want to have world champions one day, and we're not a million miles off, but the Aussies and the Americans have had a bit of a head start on us, then I think we've got to be focusing on, supporting the next generation coming through. So we plan to, weather dependent and conditions dependent, have some form of junior racing at every GB SUP race in 2021. All of the venues that we've selected and the organisers that we're working with are either already doing stuff with juniors and they have junior clubs at their facilities and have the experience, or the venues are already set up and would be quite easy to work with them. Ben Julian's been brilliant last year, sort of kicking off, working with and heading up, sort of organising the juniors. Really sort of, it's a chicken and an egg, isn't it? If you don't have races for juniors to train for, juniors won't be training, and the other way around kind of thing. It's putting on some races last year that let parents and juniors know that we are going to take junior racing seriously. Hopefully more juniors, there'll be more junior activities at clubs when they're able to work properly this year. And next year our commitment is that we will put some sort of junior racing on at every single race. And what was the other question, Ben? Sorry, there was another one, the one before that.
Well, it sort of rolled into one really. One was about increasing numbers at each venue, each race.
Yeah, it is a good question. So some of that is down to the insurance. I mean, you look at something like the Head of the Dart that sells out in half an hour, 268, I think it was, paddlers. Correct me if anyone knows I'm wrong with that, but I think it was something like that. I mean, that's an incredible number of paddlers to have on the water at the same time, doing by any standard, a decent length paddle. 14 kilometres, I think, is Head of the Dart. Is that right?
Yeah.
Something like
and
that.
Some of it's like the ocean, that middle lake.
Yeah, so you've got to think, for every, you've got to think of ratios of safety boats and all the stuff that you know very well about, Ben, with that. So some of the challenges around numbers are around the availability of safety, or the ability to put safety on certain waters. And some of it is just that we haven't got the numbers yet, being really honest. You know, some of the races are developing races and the numbers are going up. And each year we see the numbers get bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, my challenge back to everyone, if that's okay, is check out the races next year, get them in your diary early and try and come along. You know, some of the big iconic races may sell out, but you know, they've got well over 200 paddlers, paddler availability in those big races, but we're going to put plenty on in 2021, so there'll be lots of opportunity for people to get on the water and race.
Okay, I think maybe that leads us nicely on to the 2021 series. We've said that we've left this year, all being well. So I don't know, Sarah or Mark, if you'd like to sort of go through the 2021 series and why those races maybe have been chosen and what to look forward to.
Shall I start?
What I was going to say, shall I set it up and then you can go through it? It's just to say that, you know, we just wanted to be as fair as we possibly could. We've got some ideas for selecting races in 2022. Maybe if we get a chance towards the end, can kind of throw some ideas around and get some feedback on that. But, you know, put simply, the idea is to try and rerun 2020. You know, we agreed and selected a series of races in 2020 that we thought were a cracking way to represent our sport. So the idea is to try and rerun the 2020 series in 2021 with a little caveat, which Sarah will explain and we'll go with. But we've got some great news. We've got an old friend we're going back to, which will make it all worthwhile. Sarah, do you want to take us through the dates?
Yeah. So first race, Ben, will be Cardiff. So
yay! So Cardiff International Whitewater Festival. And can we say it here straight away? Because we always get this question. Are we racing on whitewater? The answer is no. There'll be a big festival, live music, all of the brands are there. You can watch lots of whitewater racing for the kayakers and other things. But we will be racing across Cardiff Bay. We're going to bring back the wonky sprints, because I think everybody really enjoyed the wonky sprints. I'm sure we can come up with a better term than that. Last year, and the 10K race up to the Millennium Stadium.
It's not called that anymore.
What's it called?
Principality.
Principality.
What, sorry, Ben?
Principality Stadium.
Principality Stadium, there you go.
So that is on the weekend of the 2nd of May, and it's historically always on the bank holiday weekend. So Saturday you can come along and check out the vibe of the Whitewater Centre. The race is at what?
We all go surfing.
I'm getting to that.
We all go surfing that weekend, so.
So on the Sunday is our race, GB SUP race, and on the Monday bank holiday weekend, off we go to surf. So it's a cracking weekend, and we are always really beautifully looked after by the guys down there. So brilliant, very exciting start.
Sarah, is it worth just also saying that, just in case there's anyone surprised about the head of the dart? We're not going to say too much about the head of the dart. The head of the dart is one of our most iconic races. If we can put off the head of the dart, they've got some considerations. We're chatting to them, so that one may come back on. There may be a few changes with dates and stuff like that. So these are all provisional at the moment. So just watch this space. But if we can continue to work with the head of the dart, we absolutely will. And I know they feel the same as well.
Yeah.
All
okay.
Right? Race two.
Race two. So race two is going back to the last time I paddled there was where I won my overall title, and it was in the midst of Storm Brian. And Mark was there with a group of saltwalk people, newbies on Nisco boards, and they just basically had to lie down on their boards and be dragged back. I mean, it was just utterly mental. It's not going to be like that, but basically we're going back to Central SUP on the 22nd of May. I hope you've all got your pen and papers, lovelies out there, because you need to be writing these down. Central SUP, 22nd of May. So your old buddy, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that was the first place I raced, wasn't it? And so just remember, so the series that Sarah's talking about now is the flat water distance series. So these distances are generally no more than 10 miles. The first race with Ben down at Cardiff will be a 10 miler. The second
10K.
one, 10K, thank you. Central SUP will be a similar sort of distance, up in the Midlands, and then we head back down to the south.
To Battle of the Thames, my race, my club race, and it is the 10th anniversary. So this Battle of the Thames has been going on for 10 years. They should this year have celebrated their 10-year anniversary, which is a massive achievement really for Brian and everybody at the Blue Chip Board Store. But it's just been postponed. It will run in 2021, and it's on the 12th of June. So you've just got to be there. It's just a brilliant, brilliant race.
Yeah, and the other nice thing to say, so what we try and do with the last race of the series is have a bit of a party. I promise the awards ceremony will be shorter. So Ben, one of the learnings from last year is if you've got at the end of a series and a race, don't try and do all of the medals in one go. It's about 2 hours. So we're going to shorten that. That is one of the things we've learned. But Brian we're chatting to Brian, and they're really keen to celebrate their 10th anniversary and the end of the Flatwater series in 2021. So that should be a great one. Put the whole weekend in your diary. We'll probably organise something on the Sunday, maybe go for a social paddle, and just have a good time that weekend.
It'll be awesome. It's close to my heart, but it is just one of those lovely. It's run by the Johnsey family, so you have Ange and Ellie, and it really is it just feels like family. I mean, to me especially, but everybody who comes along. And they changed the format last year, and it worked. So they're keeping that format, which is just better for spectators, much more exciting for the races as well. So and
it's going to be quite. It's going to be exciting to see some juniors racing around that little island.
Absolutely, Ravens 8. So then we move on to our next series.
Ocean series, the Ocean series. So
Ocean series.
There's, and is it worth saying? I think Sarah, Ben, is when we looked at the feedback from the survey, from the paddle racers survey, there is an increasing number of racers that really do, either because they've been racing for a while or just because they want to continue to challenge themselves and push themselves. They want more challenging conditions, more technical racing. So our promise and commitment to everyone is to try and deliver those races. So we are going to be the second year of having a separate Ocean series. Each of the races will be a combination of a distance, an Ocean distance race, and a technical race. Each one will have those elements. So it is, just to be really clear, you can't choose to do one or the other. You will need to do both if you want to get a points for the national series. All right, just to clear that one up. So where's the first one, Sarah?
So the first one is going back to just the most amazing territory, probably because we've used it for our qualifiers before, and it just makes it a very, very exciting place. We're going back to the old favourite, which is Base Up, and that is on the 27th of June. So again, we've really tried to think about spreading these races out a little bit, because we're aware that I think last year we might have had some which were back-to-back weekends, and we know that's tough for people who work or just competitively wise, it's tough. So Base Up on the 27th of June. And then shall I just move straight on to the next one?
Which is the weekend after what you just said.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I love you set that one up.
That. Never mind. You can all take a week off and travel around and go to this.
In all honesty, so some of these Ocean races are you need to have the tides right. So the next race is really important to get the tides right. And so it just so happens that it's the following weekend. So we kind of made a call on this, and the decision that hopefully all SUP races in the UK will go on tour and go on a holiday with each other for a week.
Yeah.
So the idea is that everybody travels down to Bournemouth to Base Up, goes and races down there, has a bit of fun in Poole Harbour and around Brownsea Island, and then travels down to sunny Cornwall and goes and races down at Carbis Bay.
Yeah. Can I just ask one thing? One question that's come in just on the Ocean series. Is there a NISCO class in the Ocean series?
Good question, Ben. There is a NISCO class in every single race that we do. Really important. I mean, I'm a big fan of One Design racing. You know, NISCO is the only One Design race board that's out there at the moment, so we are happily sticking with that. So yeah, simple answer to your question: there will be NISCO class at every race next year. Okay,
Sarah, where are we going next?
Well, let's just talk about that, because that is probably my favourite race from last year, which is the Celtic Cup at Carbis Bay. Glenn and his team run a cracking, it just feels, they've got it all sus, but it's really, really relaxed and it's lovely, and it's just like being in a foreign land. It's just so stunningly beautiful. So that is the weekend of the 4th and the 5th of July. And it's a back-to-back Saturday and Sunday, and it's just amazing.
Does that mean get more surfing in?
Yes, we do.
Right. Okay, that's good.
So, and then moving on to our last ocean race, and this is this is something that came out of the survey. We want more races up north. We want to go up north. So we went, okay, we're going to go way up north. So really, thanks to Mark and Anna, a Northern SUP race. Well, you asked the question, mate, so fair credit. Anna Little, I think this race was organised for last year within the space of maybe 48 hours.
That was conversation, and it was done and dusted, and the council was spoken to and everything else.
Absolutely incredible. So we have a race called the Beadnell Belter, B-E-L-T-A.
So you need Anna to say that in a Geordie accent. That's why, I'm not going to try and do one.
And that is in Beadnell Bay, which is in Northumberland. I didn't know where it was. It's way past Newcastle. So, and that is on the 21st of August.
Absolutely stunning up
beautiful.
And really keep your fingers crossed for this one, because they get some really, really good surf up there, and it's a good surf break. So that'll be a distance and a technical. Well worth, take the weekend. It's going to be in the kids' holidays. It's going to be in August, so hopefully no excuses for coming up and visiting the beautiful northeast of England, and going up and racing with the Northern SUP race team. I have to say, they are the team that travelled the furthest. I can absolutely say the furthest of any race team over the last few years. They come en masse, the big smile on their face, and they travel for 6 or 7 hours to get to a race, and then they travel back. So it just really pleased to be able to put a race that far up north, and with the Northern SUP race team.
And on that point, you Southerners, get your asses up to to that race, because they do really put the time and effort in to come down to, all these races. And I think we should show respect to them and go to somewhere that maybe none of us have ever been to before, and look it up, because it is just beautiful. And that will be the end of the Ocean series and the end of that part of the series. And there'll be a party. We know it'll be great. It will just be fantastic. But then we have one more icing on the cake, which I think you guys are going to be so excited about, because it's something that you all loved when it happened before. And this is not set in stone. This is something that, bless Andrew Smith for taking this on and talking, and Bryce as well for helping out. But we couldn't do it this year. We couldn't organise it. It just ran on too quickly, and Olympic qualifiers and everything. But we're looking forward to doing sprint championships again. And that will be at the beginning of September. The date we've got is the 4th and 5th of September. That could well change a little bit, because they don't have their dates set in stone. We couldn't do the beginning of the year because, again, they've had to defer their Olympic qualifiers. So I hope everybody's excited about that, because we loved it. We loved the event. It was just really, really exciting. And starting off with your race board in those buckets is a whole new ball game. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, and then sort of I guess towards the end of 2021, it's worth mentioning again that hopefully Round Hayling Island will be back on. We've got the British SUP Club champs, SUP the Creek, tons and tons of races. And what we've tried to do for 2021 is leave gaps in the calendar for other, whether it be club racing or regional racing or other national races, to kind of to get going. So we've not crowded the calendar. We've left it. We've left some quite big chunks. So we know Alex will be back with the NISCO champs as well. Yeah, hopefully 2021. That gives something really, really good to look forward to.
And I think all those dates will be on the website tomorrow, maybe. Stick my neck out that one. Okay.
Yeah, Adrian will. And again, a personal thanks to Adrian for just getting stuck in and has done so much on the website over the last few months. I really appreciate it.
Do you think a race in Scotland would ever be considered?
Oh yes, without doubt, of course. Yeah. It would be amazing. And you know, I just really hope we continue to see, you know, more of these people that are just going and trying stand-up paddleboarding once, a bit like a red letter day, because that's, you know, let's be honest, that's the bulk of people that are going to schools or hiring boards at the coast and those sorts of things. You know, if we can just really get the message out about, you know, stand-up paddleboarding is more than just going and waggling around on a bit of water on your holidays. The sport will grow, because I'd love to see. I've chatted to Simon from SUP and Glenn and Ben. We've talked about this, about, you know, eventually truly having club, regional, national races, and a really good, you know, a really healthy industry, because it really shows when you get to things like the coronavirus and all of a sudden you go into lockdown, and a lot of people's businesses have been who have stuck their neck out and have set up stand-up paddleboard businesses, have been left out a little bit on a limb. So I just hope to get all this back on track, and we can really help to do our bit in helping the sport thrive.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Mark. It's, you know, it's really important. And, you know, again, from the, you know, we're not, you know, whilst it's a WSA webinar, you know, I know even the organisation, so, you know, British Canoe and ASI, SUP, you know, springtime, we'd usually all be out.
Yeah, exactly.
And all that's just dropped off. So, yeah, it's a tough time for all of us, but you know, I'm sure we'll all get through it. So
yeah, but you know what, Ben, what's good is, you know, the last couple of years is how everybody is talking together and getting on and supporting and looking out for each other, and it just feels like, although we've gone through this chaotic time, we've kind of gone into that chaotic time with a lot of friends. You know, I've made certainly a huge number of friends over the last few years, from all, you know, from all sorts of different places, all parts of the country, in fact all over the world, particularly when we had some of the top racers come over to the UK. That's something else I'd like to see a bit more happening again, is getting some more world-class races with some of the top athletes in the world coming over here and racing again. I think that would be good.
Yeah.
So there's loads of questions coming in. I'll try and get through certainly some of them. Most of them are just, if I'm honest, guys, are compliments about GB SUP and such a fun time and really inclusive, which is just great to read.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
What new thoughts and ideas do you have around GB SUP and racing in the UK? I mean, the world's our oyster, really, with it, isn't it? I mean, last year, what is the second year of directing? I mean, I'm going to keep it slightly separate from GB SUP because I don't, you know, I was fortunate enough to be part of developing the SUP-X racing on the white water. I think that's a really exciting side of the sport, and I know that there are others far more qualified than I to continue to develop that in whitewater racing. So there's, you know, I think that's one element. I know Joe and Pete are doing a cracking job with the endurance series. So not GB SUP, but, you know, the much longer distance stuff, and long may that continue as well. I think for GB SUP, I would love to see some of the, you know, the real exciting bit for spectators when you look at the ISA Worlds, when you look at British canoeing, not British canoeing, when you look at the ICF Worlds, is sprinting. And just people taking sprinting more seriously. I loved what I've seen at a couple of the ISA Worlds where they do, I call them the wonky sprints, but where you've got the, not quite like a NISCO 180-degree turn, but you've got, a few dog's legs in your turn, so there's a bit of argy-bargy around a couple of boys. I just think it's a really exciting part of the sport. I'd love to see more. The SUP, you know, there's I've seen it on Lake Tahoe in America, SUP-X racing on
flat water. So, you know, lots of buoy turns around a very short course. And if you can do that from beach start to beach start to beach finish, you know, it just looks great. People can really kind of stand there and watch it. You know what it's like with river races and things like that. We all love racing them, but they're not great for spectators. You know, you watch everybody leave the start line and then, you know, an hour later they're back again. So I guess the only other thing I'd love to see with racing is for, you know, somehow we support Sarah and the media team so that we get better at covering the races. So, I mean, I'd love to see, we were going to do this last year and we never quite managed to pull it off. That there's quite often we've got venues where they've got TVs, you know, whether it be like Battle of the Thames and the Sailing Club, they've got TVs in the bar down there. There's no reason why we couldn't be streaming live coverage of the races back to the place where the spectators are. And there's all sorts of possibilities and options we've got. I'd love to see chip timing in races. I think the gold standard, we saw that at the ISA Worlds when they came to, was it the ISA? No, Worlds? No, the APP.
APP Tour.
APP, thank you. Sorry, APP, when that came to London, sticking, you know, going and collecting, the racers going and collecting the bib, collecting their chip timer, which went on their ankles or wherever they put it, and they just go and race. They didn't think about anything else. As a race director, you can then focus on actually, you know, really making sure the race is being delivered in the best way possible, and the timing is just done. It's instant. It's you get your finishing place and it's publicised, and so there's all sorts of things I think we can turn our focus to with the right support that would really help to improve racing. But I would open that back up to suggestions from everybody and anyone that's listening to this. We do our racer survey every year. And every year we ask racers for suggestions as to what they want. So that's always the opportunity every year for people to sort of chip in. And if anybody's got any great ideas, come and be a volunteer with us as well. That's another way.
I think, so it leads us, still some great questions coming in. But I just wanted to sort of pick up on just what you finished on there, Sarah. You know, next year, you know, it is a big operation, you know, managing a racing card. If you kind of, you know what goes into a race sort of on the day and the weeks, months leading up to it. Yeah. So where can people not just get involved in the racing, but seriously commit to helping out and getting involved sort of in that behind the scenes stuff?
Okay, well, so at a race like yours, we've already, you know, I've already got a friend who will volunteer on the day. You know, day-to-day help is fantastic, but what we need at GB SUP is more pre-race, post-race. We're getting those in place, but what we need to do, and Mark and I have been thrashing this out for a week, and we need to work more on this, is to actually be more specific about the help that we need. So, you know, we're a big team, but we're quite a tiny team as well. So we have a lot of people on the edges. My media team is fantastic. I really want to pick those guys up because they've really stepped up to the plate and helped me to, you know, do the live feed, do the interviews, the photographs, the, you know, the press releases. It's all just wonderful. But we do need more help. And I think what Mark and I need to do is sit down and work out what we need help with. We needed help with the website. I put a post out, and because it was specific, someone came and offered their help, and that's what we need to do. So I think that's work for Mark and I to do, and we've got time to do that now. And it is a commitment. It's not just a on the day commitment. It's a more long-term thing. You know, you've got to commit knowing that you've got the time to really step up and do that. So yeah, that's something for us to work on and put out, and we'll put it out there on social media. You know, I have no qualms in asking, begging, borrowing, stealing people, and you know, I think the running of the race, you've generally got the good team. Like you've got your good team, Ben. We've got Blue Chip, who've got their, you know, massive team, 15 people who helped run that race. And that's great. And we will always need extra help. And I think when you ask for that, people will step up. But it's the more long-term, behind the scenes. Just for instance, maybe someone taking over the trophies, or someone taking over doing the bibs, or someone taking over, it's all that sort of thing. So that's work in progress, and Mark and I will get that sorted pretty soon. But yeah, anybody who wants to be involved, and we are a fun team, we know how to have a good time. Yeah, come and offer your services.
So we're already getting some offers of help coming through on the chat. So where can we direct that help? We'll put all this information in the email that will be sent out tomorrow night automatically. But for now, where can we email in and just say, I'm available to help?
But if people are on social media, if people are on Facebook, the quickest and easiest ways is the GB SUP Facebook page, and send us a message via Messenger. That is a surefire way to get on us very, very quickly. Via the website, there's the contact us page on our website. Is a place I'd say as well.
Yeah. I agree, Mark. I think the quickest way, if you are on social media, is ping us a message, and then we can direct it to the right person. Or it's just something that we're on all the time, so somebody always picks it up. But yeah, get involved, people.
Yeah. Ben, just one more thought, just in terms of I can't remember who it was that asked the question about sort of the future of racing, SUP racing as well. Is we're all at GB SUP very aware that there is a cause. The first paddler survey we did, there was 40 people that asked for surf tech racing, like we see with the ISA and in the States, in Oz. And I, don't be under any illusions, we desperately want to do that here in the UK as well. But there's some challenges that come with that in terms of who's going to work, finding the right places to run them, who's going to organise and working with them, the safety. The more technical, I think the thing is, the more technical a race is, we all know this, the fewer the people will enter, the fewer the people that enter, the less money there is to pay for safety. The more challenging a race is, the more safety you possibly need. So I know that there will be some people thinking about surf tech racing. I know that there are racers that go off to the Worlds from the UK, and then they go out there, and they've not been, properly competitive racing in the UK in the same conditions that they then go racing at the World. So it's where we would love to go going forwards, but we've got to take it a step at a time. But I promise we'll get there. There is a desire to get there.
I think I'm going to throw the gauntlet down here. I think for certainly in my area in South Wales, I think we've got some great venues that could run with a big swell running. We've got a selection of areas that we could reduce that surf, if you like. So maybe it's a chat with Kerry Baker over in Barry, and
well, that's interesting. So we were going to have an informal look at that in 2020 with Kerry. Kerry was really keen, if you remember, with that, and so we didn't quite get there with that. It was going to become a race with you on the Saturday, and let's build that one gradually with them on the Sunday. So maybe that's something we should really seriously look at again. But we can have a lot of fun with this. I mean, I've been talking quite a bit with the two surf shops up at Scarborough on the East Coast. And you get some good swell up there. They're very keen to do it as well. So we're starting to so all I'm saying is, please let us know if you've got some ideal locations and facilities and know people that would be willing to put on these types of races. We're very keen to talk to you. Okay. And look forward to sort of 2022 because it gives people something really to aim for and train for as well.
Okay, so there's a question come in about the ISA and qualifiers. I'm not you happy to...
I can fill that one. Yeah, at the moment.
Will the ISA qualifiers be incorporated into the GB SUP Series Sprint Distance Technical 2021?
So the simple answer to that is if everything continues on the way it has done so far. So GB SUP are not responsible for selecting any sort of team for the ISA Worlds. That is currently still Be Super, along with the British Surf Federation, or or the English surf, depending on whether it's devolved nations or whether it's GB that's needing a GB team that's needing to be selected. If it's devolved, then it will be Wales, Ireland, Scotland, etc., etc. We've got great relationships with all of those at the moment. Long may that continue. We will support them in any way we can. And we've just sort of basically said to them, look, we have races. Have a look at our, and I'll do the same thing with Simon and Glenn and David and everyone else. Look at our races for 2021. Think about what your needs are and let us know which races, if you would like to have our races for your selection. So yeah, in answer to that question, yeah, we'd love to. I think it really, again, it brings everyone together and shows how well we can all work together.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And then just going back, I'm not sure if we've done this one, but is there a challenge section in the Ocean Series?
Yeah, so we can do that down at Bournemouth. So what we did, I mean, Bournemouth was just so fantastic the way we did it down there. But I can't take credit for that. That's Nick and all the team down at SUP. Is we did it slightly different with the Ocean Series. So you think about the slightly different challenges when you're on the ocean, obviously to being in enclosed water, rivers, lakes, those sorts of things. What we did down at SUP is we had the main races on the ocean side, but then in Poole Harbour, there was a how did it work, Sarah? Remind me. We put on some safety boats, and there was a decent number of people that went and did a paddle and a picnic around Brownsea Island.
Yeah.
So it was still a challenge. It was still a decent distance. It was about a 10k distance, but we actually, because it was, truly was open water, we actually put on some safety cover as well to keep an eye on those that were going and doing that. And the intention would be to do exactly the same with the other races, is find a way to put something on that enables those that don't necessarily want to race or are getting into the sport to come and give it a go and join us all and get to know us.
Yeah, and everybody who did that Brownsea Island just loved it. I mean, it's an iconic, round an island.
That's where I'm from. That's my hometown. Yeah, down there, my neck of the woods.
Okay, I think we're kind of getting to the end of. I think we've answered most of the questions. Annie mentioned earlier, and I've just noticed it. The X-Hammer is one of the races that's still left on. I might be wrong.
Can someone call us out a date for it, please? If you're on the, so we can let everyone know. Happy to put this up on social media and the website. That's another great race.
The other race, while we're just waiting for that, the other race that people could get involved in is the virtual M2O race, which is being run on the 25th and 26th of July this year. So that's an iconic race, 32 miles or something across this, is called the Channel of Bones. And, the likes of me or lots of other racers know they will never get there. They will never do that race. A, it costs a lot of money, and B, are you capable? But they're doing a virtual race. So I've entered on my OC. It's 16 miles, and you pay a certain amount of dollars, and you get a goodie bag before the event, so you can wear the T-shirt. And they've got over 1,000 participants. So it could be the biggest virtual race this year or ever in the history of virtual racing. So again, guys, check out the M2O Facebook page and get yourselves involved in that. I think it will be cracking to have something to train for. And you can do it over the weekend of the 25th, 26th of July. So,
I'm not getting distracted. I'm trying to find the X-Hammer dates, by the way. Can anyone?
Yeah, I've no idea. I've completely...
No, I think it's on Edge Watersports booking site, apparently. 27th and 9th, 20. Not sure if it's running. So we'll check that out and put it in the email at the end. And also the M2O race details as well. So,
I'll send you a list of those, for sure.
Oh, Ben, can I tell you something else that's really exciting? I know this is GB SUP. I just want to say thank you to all the Trent 100 challengers. We've unfortunately had to postpone that. And within a week of postponing it to 2021, we had 10 more people entered than before we postponed it. So only 4 people have asked for a refund, and we've actually got in total 10 more than we had before we so it's just incredible the support that we've had for that. It's a lot of love from us going out to everyone. We're so excited about bringing that one back first weekend of August again next year as well. So yeah,
cool. That's very cool, Mark.
I think we probably wrap that up there, everyone. It's just gone 9. So just thanks for tuning in. Our free webinars run every Friday. A range of subjects and speakers. They're all recorded, popped onto the WSA YouTube to watch, at your leisure. Although I only pressed record 20 minutes into tonight, so sorry for that amateur mistake there. In terms of sort of future events, the WSA are running an industry day on the 16th of October in Hayling Island, open to any clubs, paddlers, industry professionals, anything like that. We've got some great speakers, Chris Hines, MBE, and Professor Tim Marsh. Really good. It's all on the website. And then the 17th and 18th, 2 days later, we've also got our annual SUP symposium, and that's open to absolutely anyone. There's some great workshops, technique, beginner surf, and we are hoping to run a 2-day race directors course that weekend.
Well remembered, Ben. I nearly forgot to mention that.
It's not up on the list at the moment, but we'll add that and then announce it sort of near the time. So there'll be a race directors course running that weekend, 2 days, if you are interested. So
I think, Ben, that's absolutely brilliant, because that will ultimately help people who really want to get their races off the ground. I mean, there are great winter series running last winter, and if you don't know where to start, what a fantastic course to go on. Learn how to be a race director, get that race going at whatever level. It doesn't have to be a GB SUP national series. You start off at your level, and I think that's really well done for doing that. And can I just say before we go, thank you so much to everybody for all the support for GB SUP. And for me personally, it's and SUP Junkie, you're all awesome, and we love doing what we're doing, and you make it all worthwhile. So thank you so much, and thanks, Ben.
That was a pleasure, no problem. Just before we go, we've got next Wednesday our CPD sessions are £10 a head. We've got Steve West's second part in paddling forwards, talking about the power phase, exit, and recovery. And then next Friday we have. I'm on again talking about stand-up paddleboarding in the Himalayas and the first December SUP of the Kaligandaki. So there we go. Thanks for everyone. Brilliant evening. Great to see you all. Maybe see you.
Cheers, everyone. Look forward to seeing you on the water soon.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.